Hi, in this video we're going to go over sig fig rounding. So when we do calculations in class, we're going to have to round to a certain number of sig figs based on the calculation that we're performing. We'll go over that in another video. This video is just going to go over how to round to a certain number of sig figs. So I'm going to go ahead and share my whiteboard with y'all. All right, so in these kinds of cases, when we're not doing a calculation, I just tell you to round. I'll tell you a specific number to round to. So let's say that we have 253, and I tell you that we're going to round to 2 sig figs. So what you want to do is you want to go to that second sig fig, which is right here, and then you use the number behind it to tell you what to do with that number. So in this case, the 3 tells us that we keep the 5 the same. So we would put 2, 5. Now here's the problem though. We don't want to go from 253 to 25. That's not the same value of number. That's going from something that's in the hundreds to something that's in the tens. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we keep the same place value by putting a 0 here. We would change that 3 to a 0 to keep the same place, the same value. So we would change 253 to 250. 253 has 3 sig figs, whereas 250 only has 2 sig figs. All right? So let's say that we have 3, 1, 4, 9, 5, 7, 6, 0, 0. So in this number, how many sig figs do we have? Well, there's no decimal point, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sig figs. I want to round this to 3 sig figs. So again, you would go to the third sig fig, which is right here. You use the number behind it to tell you what to do. So you would round that 4 up to a 5. And then everything behind it, because there's no decimal point, would become a 0 to maintain the value of the number. Okay, so then we would have 315 million. Okay, we would do the same thing if we have a decimal point number. So let's say we have 0.004179. So in this case, I want to round to 2 sig figs. Now, when you have a decimal point number, you want to go to the second sig fig. So I'm not going to go here to the 0 because that's the second number behind the decimal point. I'm going to go to the second sig fig, which is right here. I use the number behind it to tell me what to do. It's going to round up, so that number would become 0.0042. All right. I do not change these last 2 numbers to zeros, because if I do, I would now have 4 sig figs still, 1, 2, 3, 4, because there's a decimal point in the number. So I only change the numbers to zeros at the end if there's no decimal point in the number, because I want to make sure that those zeros don't become significant. These zeros aren't significant, but if I added zeros back here, those would become significant. So let's try something else. Let's say that we have 10.497, and I want to round this to 3 sig figs. Again, I'm going to go to my third significant figure, which is right here. This is where I say don't serial round, because a lot of people are going to see, well, the 7 rounds the 9 up, that rounds this up to a 5, and so I'm going to round that up to a 5. No, you only look to the number right behind where you want to round to. So I only look at this 4 to tell me what to do here. So I'm going to round that up to 10.5. All right, and that's all you have to do with rounding according to sig figs. Let me know if you have any questions.